Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our market-focused Russia run. Last episode we expanded the market quite a bit. We also ramped up construction several hundred points on the back of getting interventionism. We will in the near future want to move towards egalitarianism so that we can get proportional taxation. And so in this episode we might even get up to 1K construction. And at the end of it last episode we were talking about, hey, I think we want to annex Peru, Bolivia. It's going to get more and more expensive on the infamy. Right now it's about 18 infamy and would be quite expensive, but then we noticed the date. And the date is nearly 20 years after the start date, and so the East India Company is about to become the British Raj, and we would rather that not happen because we do not want all these small Indian miners to become subjects of the UK, because this will make breaking them up quite a bit harder. We would rather the East India Company become independent or it to implode. And so today we're going to try and release the East India Company and see how things go. We might be able to get the UK to back down. They back down way too easy when this is one of the war goals, but what we're going to do is we're going to start a war with the UK. Now, we do not have negative relations with the UK, and I know what you might be thinking, hey, that's plus 71 relations. How are you ever going to start a negative war? You have a nice trade agreement. Well, first of all, we could end the trade agreement and get some negative relations. We could expel diplomats. We could do this, but instead we could just declare war on a British subject. And I think the best one is maybe trucial states. We could declare it in a way or in like Australia so that no one else can join, but we want other people to be able to join because we want to sway people. So if we declare here, we see we will get a war with both the trucial states and Great Britain, and from there we can put additional war goals on in, and so we will do that, and then we will also swap around our interests a little bit. We won't be needing this interest here in the Middle East anymore, and because we're going to be taking the Trucial Coast, so we'll just put them in India, and then we'll put one in the North Sea. The idea being, with this we can release Scotland as well if the war goes through, if we can get them to back down. Also fantastic, but this will help us out quite a bit on this front, and also we're not going to accrue a lot of infamy in this war, just like the 4 from the Trucial States. Everything else will be just trying to kneecap Great Britain, and so we will come in here. We have liberate subject. We do not have the interest yet, it looks like. Alright, yeah, we don't have the interest yet, but this is just, the whole idea here is we just want to kneecap the UK. We're just waiting to see our interests get activated. The kebab sides with Great Britain, so this is not ideal, but we want to... Ooh. Now, why can't... Well, we might want to redeclare an interest so that we can release from kebab. I'm not sure how important this is going to be for us. We maybe don't need this Egypt interest. We'll throw that in there. Something like this. We did have a bunch of interest change, and so now we could put transfer subject. We don't want to do that. We want to liberate subject, and we want to liberate the East India Company. And then let's see who we can sway. We can sway Prussia. We're going to let this play develop a little bit, and because I think Austria has negative relations, we would rather have Austria, and Austria has negative relations. Yeah, they are a rival of kebab. But it looks like it's just Prussia, so let's see what we can do. We can offer a humiliation or transfer subject. What subjects do they want? They want Tunis, Moldova, or transferring... Is this only... Transferring Lahej only takes 10 maneuvers, so I think I like this. We are also, notably, before Prussia joins, we do want to make this a primary war goal, and we're probably going to put in war reps and stuff like this on the UK as well in order to try and make this work. This is kind of happening in a dynamic way, that's why we're covering all of this, because I do think it's interesting. We will kind of be a little bit aggressive with that. Hopefully the sway goes through. We did sway, did we not? Attempt to sway Prussia failed, but you said it would succeed. Man, Diplo is so good in this game. And does it use up our maneuvers? It doesn't. But we can maybe offer a humiliation instead. We could humiliate Great Britain. This seems fine. Does it really just... They just change their minds about the value of Lahej? So we will offer humiliate Great Britain instead. We will mobilize our entire military. Not activating any conscripts yet. Not sure if we'll need them. Do not want to keep them activated. We could demobilize generals, but we can't demobilize conscripts. We will also, everyone who's landlocked, so Central Asia and the Caucasus, for example, we will look to put on fronts, but guys who are not landlocked, we will look to not. We could pick up this little bit of this dirt over here, but it's probably not too big a deal. Once we finish this war, we'll also expand construction quite a bit. I think we have a little bit in the queue. Alright, so we do see Prussia side with us. And the question is will Austria now side with them? That, of course, would not be preferable. Quinine is big nice. I don't think we can increase the institution. How much do we need to be able to increase it? 600? Okay. Let's take a look here. They are worried. There's a decent chance that they back down, so let's give them more reason. We are going to go for war reps on Britain. We are going to go for Liberate Country Scotland, which is why we put the North Sea interest in, otherwise we would not be able to do that. And now we can maybe conquer state, but generally taking off GPs is really expensive on the infamy, and we're looking to do low infamy plays. That way we can, you know, we could transfer one of these guys. I think I like the Trucal Coast. I think we'll just take war reparations off Kebab if we can do this, and this is all the things. We see that humiliate, liberate, and conquer Trucal Coasts are our primary war goals here. We have 3 guys ready to land. I know you can't see all of them, but there's 1, 2, 3. And we will be looking to... Actually, we probably need another one. So what HQ is this? Dnieper and Russia. Alright, so we're going to recruit a general out of the Dnieper HQ. Looks like we do have to... West Siberia. Maybe we recruit the West Siberian one? Not sure we really want the troops here. And would maybe rather delete them. Actually, yeah, let's delete some of these. Let's clean up fronts, and we'll be back when this war pops off. So we get a war breaking out, and, you know, this war overall looks pretty good for us. We will be humiliating Great Britain, taking war reps, this sort of stuff. We really should have prepared more for this war, like, kind of earlier, because we would have loved to have had skirmish infantry for this. We do not. We still should be able to push into the Ottomans right here, and then with all of our boats, what we will be doing is we will be landing over here. Now, it is important to emphasize, for those who are not familiar, you can do naval landings, and if you just put in, like, a half dozen naval landings... Ooh, does 18 stack really not have... Does the Poland HQ, it's landlocked? Oh, because I don't have one of the Poland HQ coastal things. Normally that's not a landlocked HQ, but we'll just move that guy over. You can only land from an HQ that's not landlocked. That HQ is, which is a little bit annoying. But we are just going to put in, you know, several landings all at once. And when you put in several landings all simultaneously, one of them will get caught on their navy, one will get caught on their army, probably 2 will get caught on their army at this point in the game, but we're going to be landing with 4, and one of these ought to get through, and then once they get through, hopefully it's one from either Dnieper or Russia HQ. Once they get through, we will just promote them way up, and then we should be able to push into Great Britain like that. And so enforcing on them shouldn't be too terribly hard. We could also just go for the Trucal States, because we're at war with them, but we're just going to let that pass. Also, the reason we're going for the Trucal States is it is part of the split state of Bahrain, which includes Bahrain, Omani Bahrain, or Omani Trucal Coast, and the Trucal States. This entire state has 80 oil, so it's really good late game. It's not a lot of infamy for us to go to, and the main reason was we just wanted to be able to declare war on the UK, and this lets us do that by us having negative relations with them, so we're going to be landing and probably enforcing relatively easy on the UK here, and then we're going to be ramping up construction and such. So this is what we are talking about. Several landings get in at once. One of these was caught here. We have another that's caught by their army. But then we have 2 others that just get in for free, absolutely free. And we see this guy's from the Dnieper HQ, so we just need to promote this boyo up. And look, more guys get immediately assigned, and so this will be quite strong. We do need to build up more convoys, kind of in real time, so this is something to be concerned about. But this guy, hopefully he's from the Russia HQ. Big nice, he is. And so we just promote him a couple times, and now, you know, now it's not a 10 stack that's here, it's like a 30 stack that's here. We have this landing which is going to fail, and this landing which has no one assigned to it. We're going to actually assign our guy from China over here, in case this guy is not pushing, in which case we should be able to push through here as well. But enforcement should be relatively easy here. It will be, you know, very easy over here. I think we'll move one of these guys on over as well, and so hopefully they get there, because we do not need this much muscle to deal with the Ottomans themselves. We need it for these guys, and now you see we're running negative convoys because we're moving this guy over, so we will, at the front of the queue, put in a whole bunch of ports. We'll look to see if there's any place that doesn't have any infra. That way we can resolve their problems first, and then kind of just add ports along several of these spots which are relatively lower in infra, and just add like about a dozen ports to kind of handle this convoy situation. They're also going to convoy raid us, and so this might be a little bit difficult, but we see, you know, they're going to come down pretty quick from exhaustion / being occupied and controlling war goals, this type of thing. Maybe we'll land in here to control another war goal, but it's probably not necessary. But this is how you enforce pretty easily on the UK. Big nice, we got a trade agreement coming in with the Japanese Shogunate. Again, we want to incorporate them into our customs union. So this is thing one. Thing two is we got another 3 landings coming in here in Yorkshire. These should be pretty good at enforcing. And another thing is, I think we are not currently exporting softwood, but we could if we want to. Some people are starting import routes from us. We do have to be concerned about the convoys, but our economy is just enormously just chop chops. This is like all we're doing. You know, we have nearly 400 of these, and so if we can expand the price or increase the price of timber, this is good for us, even though it is a government, we are consuming it as part of, you know, government construction goods. As part of construction goods, we are consuming a decent chunk of wood. It doesn't really matter because such a huge percentage of our economy is this wood, because if we sort by, let's see, production on map, we see almost all the world's wood is coming from us. And so if we export, we can build even more of it and utilize the fact that we have just incredibly efficient wood. And so we will just put in a few export here, and we will focus on the ones that are not going to use convoys. But doing this also will increase our ability to pull people into our market if we are exporting wood to them. And so, you know, you just want to run as many trade routes as possible when you're trying to do like this Diplo type of expansion, because this helps you pull people into the customs union. Now, we can't pull anyone in here now, but we will be able to in the future, especially once we start being able to bankroll people, which we can't yet, because this will allow us to gain obligations, and this will be super useful. But for now, we are just, you know, continuing this war, obviously. Not putting in, we don't want to put in any extra money, but we probably could, into the terms of construction. We probably could add construction here. We probably should, to be honest. Oh well. So we are getting more landings in. Things are getting a little bit close. They can't enforce us below 0. We can enforce them below 0, but they just need to capture Russian cars. We now have a guy defending against landings, but he's not very big. Or, well, the guy who we had defending against landings, actually, let's bring him back. This guy's defending against landings. Prussia's got something to deal with. That's not our problem. That's their problem. And we do have more landings coming in, so we should be enforcing on them, but it is a little bit sketchy. You know, currently, you know, a little bit spooky, but we should be able to enforce this war. It's looking okay enough. We also added a little bit more construction, and things are coming on up. You know, we should be able to manage this. If not, we will just continue to activate more conscripts. We've already started to activate some conscripts. We actually need to probably actually deal with this, to be honest. So this guy's the guy who's defending. We'll put this guy who failed the landing, we'll put him to kind of recapture some of this Prussian stuff, this Prussian dirt. I believe we're being decayed faster than they are now. We are, but we can't get decayed below 0 because they don't have cars. And so this will allow us to, you know, kind of enforce on them first. And if we recruit more conscripts, this will decrease the rate at which we decay, but we really don't want to recruit the conscripts unless we absolutely need to, which it doesn't look like we do. It looks like we're going to be able to push through on this one. Kebab just capitulated, which means we can get enforced below 0, so we do have to keep an eye on this. I think it's at a good enough rate that we don't need to conscript up in order to reduce the rate, but the Ottomans had the, you know, the Kars war goal on us, so now if we take a look at the war goals, there's no war goals on us, so we can be decayed below 0, but we should be fine enough here, and be able to enforce on them first. It is a little bit tenuous, and so that's why we're watching it a little bit carefully, but I think that the rate is... They are outstripping us on the rate, just as long as we don't somehow randomly get pushed out of their capital, at which point we can't enforce them below 0 anymore. Things should be alright here. We're just kind of watching to see when they'll be willing to accept, and it doesn't look like they'll be able to push us off the capital here, and it looks like we're going to get an enforcement kind of any minute now. When they flip their attitude on some of this stuff, you know, it will be like a light switch where, like, liberate, this will become not a thing at all, and it'll just be like plus 80. It was a little bit tenuous, though. We're just going to stick in here until we get the full enforcement. I guess we're going to just raw dog enforce on them. And so then we will see what happens here with the Raj. Oh no, it became the Raj. We didn't want that. We wanted it to be the East India Company. This is really unfortunate. We were trying to do this before. You know, that's so unfortunate. We were just a little bit... We were just... I mean, we were several months too late. But that's big sad. We could improve relations with them straight away, but this is not what we wanted. I mean, we got war reps, but we wanted to release the East India Company, not the Raj, because now all of these are still part of Great Britain. We can, of course, you know, release Baroda and stuff like this, and this will, like, kneecap all the access here, but we really wanted the East India Company to be independent and to go after all these provinces and slowly annex them. That way we would have less to do ourselves. And so this is a bit unfortunate, but we're in okay shape. Our infamy did decay during that war quite a bit, and so now we can go after Peru, Bolivia pretty comfortably here. And okay, the UK might join against us, but then we'll start taking stuff off of them. And the UK in particular is greatly weakened, you know, having to release both Scotland and East India. Will also improve relations, not with them. Actually, let's improve relations with them. We wouldn't mind getting good attitudes with them again, and we will also look to improve relations with them as soon as we can. But now we can annex Peru, Bolivia, which is kind of what we wanted to go for. Let's actually wait until Monday. That way, maybe these guys' attitude change. Yeah, it comes genial. We'll we'll offer a trade agreement, and then we'll go after these guys, which will generate us a bunch of infamy. Great Britain has accepted our trade agreement, and this trade agreement will help to bring up the positive relations, you know, and they'll probably stop damaging relations with us, given that they're genial, cordial, and we have a trade agreement. But yeah, we will be annexing Peru, Bolivia now, and trying to go up for 1K construction. The Russian dream, you're telling me? SOL? Yeah, let's do this one. Sure, why not? So we pip egalitarianism, and this one's really nice because you can go proportional taxation. We're about to hit our tick on elected bureaucrats. If we get a negative tick, we'll just come off this and start moving towards proportional taxation. It's a really powerful law. It will allow us to construct a lot, and we can pass it relatively easy with, like, the armed forces plus rural folk. Although I'm not sure we can get a legitimate government with them both in, or a very legitimate government, something like this. Yeah, it doesn't look super good, but this is going to be kind of a more important thing to pass than elected bureaucrats. Also, the war with Argentina, New Granada, and Peru, Bolivia is going pretty good. We're banning slavery on New Granada and Argentina, which I think makes them less likely to defend the borders because it makes them less conservative. And so this is a plus. We are going to be double landing on New Granada here. We're looking to enforce on all of them at once. We are going to mobilize this guy and send him on over because it looks like we don't have, you know, the strongest frontage here, but we're pushing in here. We're landing up here, and so this war should go pretty well. And we've added even more construction, you know, just looking to build things out. So it looks like the strain was a little too much for China to bear, and China busted apart, you know, the British Raj became Bengal. We are doing a large volume of trade with them, which is nice. We're trying to improve relations. We'll try and get them into our customs union, if I'm not mistaken. Well, they are a great power, so we would need to kneecap them a little bit in order to facilitate this. But we are going to try and get these guys into our customs union, / incorporate them as best we can. They are very expensive to, you know, or actually it's not even that bad. This is just a one province dominion, but maybe we can go about it like this, looking to dominion some of these guys and push in on some of these guys. Uyghur, that's kind of a lot for the amount of pop they have. They do have several provinces, and so we'll be trying to find an expansion plan that makes sense, given this great shakeup. Also, we, you know, finished this war up, which is putting us in great shape to, you know, have 1,000 construction by the end of the episode here. Looks like we can invite Spain here to the customs union, owing them an obligation. We are checking this pretty frequently, and so we will invite them. Again, we cannot get obligations through bankrolls just yet, but getting Spain in is going to be a huge deal because they have some subjects. Those subjects come in, and this is pretty good as well in the Philippines and over here. And so this will just increase our ability to specialize, you know, in particular on, you know, the industrial, more oriented buildings. We'll, of course, try and make sure we're 31ing buildings, but this way we're exporting a ton of this stuff to everywhere, and then we are focused on this, and so we don't have a lot of farms, and everyone in our customs union is more agrarian oriented than us, or they are moving in that direction, allowing us to greater specialize on industry, which is going to help us, you know, have more investment pool transfer, this type of thing. And so this is all just a big come up. Bizarrely, Prussia seems to be taking on Austria, which you don't see very often. We also annexed this and went after Orania. Now we're going after Brunei. We are dominioning because we're looking to keep the infamy low, trying to expand in this way. Finland's a little bit too much to annex. We could go after Cochin, but then we have to fight the Sikh Empire. Would rather try and diplomatically pull in the Sikhs, and so we're kind of stalled out a little over here. We might dominion Bukhara and Khiva, but we might try and incorporate them diplomatically. Overall, it's a little bit less infamy, but a long type of route. I think this elected bureaucrats business is the most stalled out I have been on a law in a very long while. It has gone through like a half dozen to a dozen, you know, 20 to 30% ticks with nothing happening, and really keen on getting off of it or getting it through so that we can do other stuff, and it's just much pain, much opposite of excite. Okay, we finally passed elected bureaucrats. We have a bunch of floating bureaucracy. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to look to increase our colonial growth or colonial fair institution. We have a bunch of extra bureaucracy to work with off the back of this. And now we kind of are at an interesting bit of a choice where we can either go parliamentary republic, probably rev, and then maybe have to deal with someone, a GP joining on the side of the rev. This has been kind of the case of 1.3.5. This leaves me a little spooked, but this is probably the best if we were like re-rolling or loading or something like this, because once we get parliamentary republic, we should be able to get stuff through relatively easy. But if we look here, this guy is a market liberal, so I think we could just do this and then have a good time, you know, getting a relatively easy free trade in, or you know, we really would like proportional taxation, but I think we go free trade first, because I think it's just going to be a relatively easy pass. No one really opposes it, and we are running an enormous amount of trade routes. We're spending so much bureaucracy on trade, and so, you know, we're running trade routes that aren't necessarily profitable, and we're super fine with this, because we are just trying to do enormous volumes of trade with a whole bunch of people to try and incorporate them into our market. In particular, we're like importing as much, you know, rural-oriented stuff as we can, like, so for example, from the French here, from the British here, we're importing as much of the agricultural stuff as we can, and we're exporting, like, as much finished goods as we can, and we're not really overly concerned with profitability. We're still every route we're putting in is profitable, but we are trying to massage our economy to look a particular way, because for the most part, we haven't been building that much rural stuff. A lot of this is just stuff we started with. We do have some livestock ranches on auto expand around here, but that's kind of because that's the only thing they can build, and it seems fine. And if you take a look, we have just a huge amount of mines, you know, a huge amount of wood, nearly 500 logging camps, and a bunch of, you know, industrial stuff. So we're pretty industrialized here. You know, the landowners are not, they're not that strong. We just need to get them out of power, so we need to go parliamentary republic eventually. And maybe it'll be a good time after passing this, because then they won't rev. We'll see how that goes. If we can pass it fast enough, maybe we can get there. So it looks like we can pull the Japanese Shogunate into our customs union here. And we could also, by owing them an obligation, which we're fine with because we can't really generate obligations yet, and we can also pull in the Sikh Empire, both of which are going to be big nice, and the customs union continues to grow here. Let's see, we do have to unpause for them to accept. We now claim that. How did we claim that? Alright, well, we have an obligation with both the Shogunate and Sikh Empire, and now they are in, and the customs union is getting pretty big. Ah, that's how that happened. Where is that exactly? that they are seceding from? Probably over here? Yeah, so we'll deal with that right quick. But I think we're going to conclude the episode here. You know, we are dealing with this, but conclude the episode here. The big thing we did is we released Bengal, and then China exploded, and so this is kind of what's going on. We were hoping to release the Dutch or the East India Company. This was our goal, because we didn't want to have to, you know, painstakingly kneecap the UK later and have a lot of problems with that. And we didn't get exactly what we wanted, but, you know, this is something. They are a major power, or a great power, so we can't pull them into the customs union, so we'll have to try and figure something else out. But we have also expanded the customs union and gone up to about 1k construction, so we're about plus 400 construction on the episode, which is quite a bit, and feels pretty good. You know, we are kind of trying to push the tech a little bit. Really, we are, like, also just struggling in general, you know, passing a bunch of laws, and we're having trouble, like, getting laws through fast enough. We would really like to have a super legitimate government. The only way we could do that is with parliamentary republic, and so maybe we could try and do that next episode, or even if we had, you know, a different system other than wealth voting, like if we had technocracy or oligarchy, we could do it, but I think we want wealth voting here, and so we are going to try and go free trade, get the boyos happy enough. Ooh, we could actually probably just go laissez-faire after this, to be honest, and then since the gentry assembly is a market liberal, both of these will make him very, very, very happy, and then we could probably pass parliamentary republic without revving. That's kind of the plan moving forward, but I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell, and other than that, have a good day.